Hello students, this session will be about your short report and your presentation. So your short report is going to honestly not really fall within any of the guidelines in your textbook, but it is going to be like a longer version of a persuasive paper. So go back and review those persuasive message instructions, and it will be AIDA in format. And so key here is to start with an attention getter. This goes for the presentation as well as the paper. So if you come into your presentation, you say, hey, my name is Lisa. I'm going to talk to you about pay raise. That's going to be about at least 30% off. You cannot do that. Saying fiddling around, you should practice walking up and saying your first line. It should be memorized. So that's really, really important because you only have one chance for a first impression, and you don't want your first impression to be that you don't know what you're doing. The body of your paper, the second, third paragraph, is going to be just like your persuasive message, but you should have more details. So each point should have 2 or 3 sentences about it. The whole paper should really be about a page and a half. You need to give me a lot more details than you did in the other short message. So I want to talk just a minute about the closing. Your book tells you some different things, but what I would really like you to do, so your closing is going to be your request for action. So again, make sure it's specific. And then when you're done, you should end your speech or your presentation by saying, thank you. Does anyone have any questions? Everyone should end the same way. Your book says to just stop talking, but that doesn't make any kind of sense to me. So thank you. Does anyone have any questions? That will signal to us that you have completed your presentation. Next, I would like to talk about your visual aid. Your visual aid should be a PowerPoint presentation. Our computers here at the school do not work well with Prezi, so you will want to use Microsoft PowerPoint. Students should be able to download that for free from the Microsoft website, so please check there. You need to understand that PowerPoint, as other word publisher programs, they are not word processors. You should absolutely, positively do not type your whole paper onto that slideshow. All you should do is put bullet points. Now, my slides for this class are not good examples. They're used for something different. But you should have maybe 3 or 4 slides. Each one has 2 or 3 bullet points on it. That's all you want to do. In fact, this slide that you're looking at right now is actually a pretty good example. Your font needs to be between 28 and 32. 7 words per line, 7 lines per slide. Use bulleted list, but don't overdo it. You can see I have check marks here. I really prefer just square or circles, but trying to make a point. The best thing to do in PowerPoint is just choose an effective template. They have templates already there. Pick the one that you like, the one that looks professional, the one that looks like you work at this business. If you have any questions about that, you can call me or get in touch with me. But Microsoft PowerPoint is very, very easy to use, even if you've never looked at it before. I just want to talk lastly about some do's and don'ts of presenting your work to a culturally diverse audience, or an audience, which is what you will have. You don't really know who's going to be in there with you. What you want to do in general is avoid words that trigger negative emotional responses, like for example words like hate. Enunciate your words. Be careful about jokes. Trying to be funny, it usually just does not work. Let look for feedback. If we all look like we don't understand you, then we probably don't. And lastly, these are just, all of this information is found in your slideshow for the chapter. But here's some guidelines. Be prepared. That's going to be your biggest tool in not being nervous, is if you're prepared. Practice, but don't memorize. Don't rehearse. Spend a little bit more time. You really should memorize the introduction and the conclusion, but everything else you should be able to present without having memorized it. I'm looking at some things that don't apply because you will be at your house, but you do need to dress appropriately for a business setting. So that means no graphic t-shirts, no jeans, although since this is video, I assume we may not be able to see if you're sitting down. The key is going to be to familiarize yourself with how the program works. We're going to use Canvas conferences. So you should be able to go in there ahead of time and look around. We won't have a lot of time to figure out what we're doing. So go into conferences, figure out what to do and how it works. And as always, please contact me if you have any questions.